Hi, Margaret. It's so good to have you stop in.
Yeah, what you doing today?
Well, I was, and believe it or not, looking through some pictures, some old albums. They're having a reminisce day at the church and talking about the 40s.
What
I'm looking at my
fun.
pictures from the 40s.
What fun!
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. We just it was a fun time to live until the war started. But
Yeah.
at first, in the early
Were you in
40s,
high
I was
school
still in
then?
high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was in high school and having fun. I think one of the most fun things we did was dancing, of course, and we
yeah.
danced the jitterbug and of course the slow dances. They were the romantic ones, and at our dances, we had guys who wanted to dance with us came and signed our dance card that we wore around our wrist. And so we had, the first and last dance you always wanted with the guy that you liked the most.
Oh, yeah.
And so just different dances.
Mhm.
Did you?
But dancing in high school? Oh no, I did not dance. We were not allowed to. We were the Baptist.
Mhm.
Not that I didn't want to, but yeah, high school was a lot of fun. But actually, I graduated in 1940 from high
okay.
school, so I started the whole new decade and a whole new life. Actually, I left the house in which I'd been born and had lived in for 18 years and went off to college.
Mhm.
I had acquired a scholarship to a Bible college, and that was just a whole new beginning for me. So
And there was no dancing there.
not the Baptist college, no, not really. And the big event when I first got there was the Freshman Get Acquainted Day. It happened on a Sunday afternoon because, before the classes would begin. And so the freshmen were all lined up in a row, boys and girls alike, and they were to be chased by the upperclassmen.
Oh boy!
And whoever caught you was to be your date for the evening. And
What
I
fun.
was very honored to be caught by a senior, and he was a ministerial student. He was going to become a preacher.
Mhm.
And here he was, all dressed in his black suit, white shirt, tie, all dressed up. But he chased me and he caught me, and he was my date for the evening. And we dated for a few months after that.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that sounds like that was a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
And there's a picture.
Oh,
See, that's how I wore my hair.
Oh, really?
A lot of the girls wore a mid-page boy. That was the style
Yes,
then,
I remember.
And,
Uh-huh.
but I wore mine down shoulder length and always had a bow.
Oh,
and,
yes,
and
the bow
we,
in the
we
hair.
wore a bow in our hair.
Me too.
And then we dressed up for school. We wore skirts and dresses and
No
I
pants?
had no pants. No, are you
Jeans?
kidding? No, I didn't wear pants until '52 till I came to California. We used. I was in Pennsylvania at the time, but we wore had a lot of sweater sets and we wore penny loafers and saddle shoes. There's some saddle shoes there with bobby socks, of course.
no doubt. Okay.
But then when we went to town, that's when we dressed up. We had our hats and our gloves and our matching purse and shoes. And in fact, I even wore, after I was married, I even wore furs. And always heels. We wore heels all the time. I even have a picture of me wearing heels on the beach.
Yeah, that is something. Well,
Yeah.
I remember we dressed up for everything as well. I dressed up for the football games at college. Same thing with the heels, the hose, the
Yeah.
matching purse and gloves. I remember this snazzy little snap brim hat that I had, very tailored, and a camel hair trench coat that I had inherited. Camel hair was not the cheapest thing. But
No, it
it was
wasn't.
a hand-me-down, but I felt very dressed up, and of course, we all dressed that way to go to to the football games.
Yeah.
And always your very best to dress up to go to church.
Oh, sure. Yes. And there's a picture of a radio that we had then. And we were just so simply entertained.
Oh, yes.
We kids came to our house and we played post office. And you always hope to get the right guy and call you in the post office. And we made taffy, sang around the piano. My sister played by ear, so we played all the popular songs. We sang that around
Which
the
you
piano.
learned off the radio,
Yes,
no doubt, like
yes,
we did. We were singers too.
Yeah,
when we did that.
yeah. And then the kids would come sometimes and listen. We would turn off all the lights in the living room, and we would listen to Inner Sanctum with the squeaky door, and that was always scary but fun. And my favorite, I think my favorite program at that time was One Man's Family. It was a series that was on every Sunday, and with the Barber family, and we just got to know them. They were in San Francisco, and I still have a photo album that they put out of the Barber family.
I remember them. Well, the radio was such a luxury to us because I lived out in the country on a farm, and we had no electricity. So finally my dad put up this little windmill tower that had a wheel that turned with the wind, much like we have today.
Yeah.
That generated electricity. It powered our very first radio, and we also got a few electric lights in the house from that as well. So that was really a wonderful luxury for us. A break in our very simple farm life.
Yeah, it was. And then movies added to the fun.
Oh,
they were only 10 cents, and not only for that 10 cents, not only did you get the feature movie, but you got cartoons, a newsreel. We didn't have television. We had to see it in the movies. And then, of course, the cartoon weekly cliffhanger. Always wanted to go back next week and see if the hero escaped. Yes. And then my favorites were Nelson Eddy and Jeanette MacDonald. I went to all of their movies, and then I loved Deanna Durbin. I guess I liked the singing.
Oh yes, well I loved the musical shows too, like, especially those that were from the Broadway shows. I remember Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire and their gorgeous splashy dance scenes. You know, that was spectacular. So we were very musical as well, and those were some of my favorite movies as well.
And then I love Clark Gable.
And Tyrone Power.
Oh, yes. We all fell in love with them.
Remember Casablanca with Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman?
Yeah, that was
a dramatic.
That was a fun time. We really, I think we lived in our imagination. Yeah. And then a terrible thing in '42, Pearl Harbor.
Oh, yes.
And I was alone. I remember at the time I was babysitting, and I heard Roosevelt's voice come over the airwaves and saying that our country had been invaded, and he talked about Hawaii being bombed, and that it was many ships went down, and it was a day that would live in infamy, he said.
Oh, yes.
Where were you?
I, too, was alone. I was studying for midterm exams, and same thing, listening to the radio, and when this break came with the news flash, I went into a panic because I had two brothers in the area. One brother was a Marine who was in the hospital there in Honolulu. The other brother was aboard an aircraft carrier just a short ways out, steaming home for Christmas.
Wow.
Christmas leave, and when they got the news aboard ship, they had to steam around and go back and join in the battle. And that brother finally got home for Christmas 2 years later after many battles in the South Pacific, and he had been wounded. So that was a hard time for our family.
Yeah, everybody served. Many people served. I had my dad and brother were in the Navy. I had a sister in the Women's Army Corps. Uncles, cousins, teachers, boyfriends left us. I even tried to join the Waves.
Did you?
Yes. And we were all encouraged to write to keep up the morale. And, and we got letters by V-mail, Victory Mail.
V-mail.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, and the servicemen got free mail. If a letter came, you knew it was a serviceman. There wasn't a stamp on it. So they got free mail. I got 2 proposals in the mail. They were really desperate, serving overseas and desperate.
I can't believe that. No.
And one of the popular songs was "Don't Sit Under the Apple Tree with Anyone Else But Me."
I remember.
Well, I didn't adhere to that. Al and I met and I was sitting under the apple tree with him while the other guys were gone.
Okay, very good. Well,
Yeah.
everything changed at that
Yeah.
time. The whole demographics across the entire country
Yeah.
made a great big change. People who, like my own family, farmers in the Midwest or Southwest, relocated to the area, the cities where the war industries, because the whole effort was to turn out to win this war.
Yes.
And war implements like tanks, machine guns, ships, airplanes, parachutes, clothing for the troops, everything was had to be all factories had to be converted, and many homemakers had to leave their homes and office jobs to go and fill these jobs in these plants, because the men were all in the war and out to war.
What were you doing then?
Actually, I was. I had just. My family was one of those families that relocated to and they went to Los Angeles. And my dad, who'd been a lifetime farmer, got a job in the shipyards down in San Pedro. This is all coastal area, you see. And I had just completed. I was equipped by this time, after 2 years of college, to be a secretary. So I got a job downtown Los Angeles as a secretary, making $80 a month. And then I heard about people who were making $5 an hour working in the aircraft factories, and I thought, why not me? You know, so I decided to apply. Well, I didn't pass the physical right off the bat. They told me I must have my tonsils out.
Oh my!
At 21 years of age, mind you, before I could pass the physical.
Oh, that's
but
odd.
I did that, and I got hired at North American Aviation, and I became Rosie the Riveter. I worked on the tail assemblies of the P-51 Mustang fighter plane that played such a large role in the battles of the South Pacific.
And your pay was much better.
I was making $5 an hour, which 40 hours a week. What he got you $200 a week. I mean,
boy, you were rich. You know what I was making? $15 a week, $60 a month.
You weren't in one of those.
But I enjoyed my job, though. I was a switchboard operator, and